Imagine MS Dhoni walking out to bat during the final over of a World Cup match. His face remains calm. Now imagine Virat Kohli celebrating a century with unmatched passion and aggression. Lionel Messi quietly lets his performances speak for him, while Michael Jordan demanded excellence from everyone around him. They are all champions. Then why are they so different?
We see these incredible night and day contrasts on the field all the time. Calm versus passionate, quiet versus demanding. Some athletes look like they're casually reading a book while the world watches, and others look like they're ready to run through a brick wall. Today, we're going to explore a really fascinating mystery that sits right at the intersection of human biology, psychology, and extraordinary performance. We are unpacking the science of personality in sports to understand what truly separates the absolute best from the rest. Are champions born differently, or does sport create champions?
Section 1. Defining the sporting personality, the science of what makes us tick. Okay, let's dive into this. How do we actually define personality? Well, it's defined as the unique and relatively stable patterns of thoughts, emotions, behaviors, and attitudes that distinguish one individual from another. Now, I really want you to notice that word stable. Your personality isn't just a fleeting mood, like being angry you spilled your coffee this morning. It's the consistent, underlying operating system of your mind. It heavily influences how an athlete thinks, how they feel, how they react, and ultimately how they perform when placed in different situations. It literally dictates whether a sudden change in weather, a wildly hostile crowd, or a critical game-losing mistake will completely crush their spirit or somehow ignite their focus.
When we break it down, personality isn't just some abstract concept we only talk about in a clinic. It has deeply practical, immediate impacts on the field. It affects an athlete's baseline confidence, their motivation to keep going when they're exhausted, how they step up to lead others, their emotional control, their ability to work in a team, their resilience, and those crucial split-second decision-making moments. Have you ever wondered why two athletes who have the exact same physical training, the same coaches, and the exact same nutritional plans end up performing completely differently on game day? Well, it almost always comes down to these precise mental factors. Understanding these facets is an absolute game changer. It helps coaches, sports psychologists, and the athletes themselves identify their mental strengths, figure out how to overcome their psychological weaknesses, and ultimately maximize their physical performance. Now, what's really, truly interesting is the stark contrast in these personalities. You've got some players who remain incredibly calm and composed during the most crucial, high-stakes moments. Then you have others who display intense, fiery emotional expressions. And here's the secret that sports psychology reveals. Neither personality style is inherently superior. There's absolutely no one-size-fits-all champion template. Different sports, varying situations, and unique team environments naturally favor different personality characteristics. Think about it. A quiet, calculating internal mindset might be absolutely perfect for a marathon runner pacing themselves over 26 miles, while an explosive, highly vocal, commanding personality might be exactly what a rugby team needs from its captain right before a massive scrum. Section 2. The nature versus nurture debate. The origins of greatness. This brings us to a really fascinating crossroads. If these personalities are so crucial to winning, where do they actually come from? For decades, experts have argued back and forth over these two perspectives. The nature perspective suggests that genetic and biological factors pre-wire us. It argues that traits like our baseline temperament, our emotional tendencies, and our general behavioral patterns are written right into our DNA from the moment we take our first breath. On the other side, the nurture perspective pushes back hard, emphasizing the incredible power of environment. This side argues that our family, our coaches, our cultural background, the agonizing failures we endure, and the hard lessons we learn are what truly shape our sporting personality. But modern sports psychology has thankfully moved past the simplistic black and white thinking. It recognizes a much more nuanced, dynamic reality, which we call the interactionist approach. Personality actually develops through a continuous, endless interaction between both biological and environmental influences. The truth is, champions are neither entirely born nor entirely made. They are continuously shaped throughout their entire lives. You might be born with a genetic predisposition for intense focus, a real natural gift, but it requires the right environment, the right coach, and serious discipline to forge that raw focus into a world-class athletic weapon. And this brilliantly illustrates the trait approach to personality. This theory suggests that individuals do possess relatively stable internal characteristics that influence their behavior across various situations. Look at these core traits right here.
confidence, perseverance, competitiveness, and emotional stability. Highly achievement-oriented athletes naturally demonstrate a fierce persistence and self-discipline. Emotionally stable athletes possess an inherent, almost supernatural ability to remain calm during chaotic, high-stakes competitions. Meanwhile, highly competitive individuals don't just tolerate pressure, they actively seek out and thrive under challenging situations. These internal traits absolutely serve as a foundation for greatness.
But here is the catch. We know from extensive observation that personality traits alone cannot completely predict athletic success. Because if they could, think about it, we could just blood test 10-year-olds and hand them Olympic medals right then and there. But we don't do that, do we? Successful athletes demonstrate remarkable, almost miraculous adaptability across different situations and varying stages of their long careers. So if traits alone aren't the whole story, how do athletes adapt and evolve?
Section 3. How environment shapes us. The power of social learning.
According to the social learning perspective, personality isn't just something you have, it's something you learn. Personality develops through a very distinct sequence. First, observation. Picture a young rookie athlete carefully watching a veteran player remain totally composed after making a terrible error. Second, imitation. That young athlete then tries to mimic that same stoic body language in their very next game. Third, reinforcement. A coach spots this and praises them for not losing their temper. And finally, experience. Over time and through repetition, this learned behavior becomes a hardwired, automatic part of their actual personality. Athletes are constantly, continuously learning behaviors from their coaches, their parents, their teammates, and the broader sporting culture they inhabit.
So, the crucial point is that sports environments carry a massive, massive responsibility. They significantly influence psychological development. Positive coaching styles actively encourage the growth of confidence, resilience, and an authentic sense of teamwork. On the flip side, environments that are defined by excessive criticism or totally unrealistic expectations don't just result in lost games. They can fundamentally harm an athlete's motivation and long-term emotional well-being. Leadership, confidence, and emotional regulation aren't just magical genetic gifts. They are mental muscles, and just like physical muscles, they must be strengthened through experience and supportive guidance. In fact, the very act of sporting participation is a complete masterclass in personality development. Even if an athlete never goes pro, simply stepping onto the field teaches irreplaceable life skills. Sports teach discipline, like waking up at 5 a.m. to train in the cold when you'd much rather stay in bed. They teach deep responsibility to a team. They forge true leadership and perseverance in the harsh face of defeat. And perhaps most importantly, they teach emotional regulation. That's the ability to experience massive spikes of adrenaline and intense, bubbling frustration, yet still manage to make a rational, rules-based decision in a fraction of a second. It's incredible when you think about it.
Section 4. Beyond sports. Everyday champions. Now we are going to expand our lens a bit, because everything we've just discussed about the psychology of elite athletes doesn't just stay magically contained on the playing field. You might be sitting there thinking, okay, this is all fascinating, but what if I'm not an athlete? What if my arena is a classroom, a corporate office, or my own living room? Let's move to and see how this builds into our daily lives. The exact same psychological principles that help athletes perform successfully contribute directly to everyday excellence. Think about it. The intense emotional regulation a striker uses to take a penalty kick in front of 80,000 screaming fans, that is the exact same mental muscle a student uses to stay calm and focused during high-stakes examinations. The teamwork and positive reinforcement used by championship-winning coaches translate perfectly into corporate leadership and building successful careers. The patience, adaptability, and resilience learned through crushing sporting failure are the exact same traits required for effective parenting and continuous personal growth. Because here's the thing. To your brain, pressure is pressure, whether you are wearing a team jersey or a business suit.
Sports psychology teaches us a profoundly empowering lesson. There is no single ideal sporting personality, and there is absolutely no single ideal human personality. Success is not about trying to mimic someone else's traits. You don't have to be loud if you are naturally quiet, and you don't have to be stoic and silent if you're naturally passionate and fiery. True success is about understanding exactly who you are, recognizing your own unique blend of nature and nurture, and continuously working on becoming the absolute best version of yourself. Because champions are not born in a single, glorious moment of victory. They are continuously shaped by their underlying personalities, their daily choices, their lived experiences, and their relentless, unwavering commitment toward excellence. Perhaps the most beautiful truth about human personality is that it is not a fixed, rigid thing set in stone. Every single day presents another opportunity to learn, to adapt, to grow, and to become just a little bit better than we were yesterday. So as you go forward, remember this: champions are neither born nor made. They are continuously becoming.
Thank you for joining me to explore the fascinating depths of the champion's mind. It's truly amazing what we can achieve when we finally understand the psychology driving our actions. If this explainer on personality and performance resonated with you, please make sure to like it. I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts. Who is your favorite athlete, and what personality trait do you admire most in them? Drop that in the comments below. Don't forget to share this explainer with friends, teammates, or really anyone who loves learning about the science of success. And hit that subscribe button to join our growing community right here at Beautiful Mind. See you in the next episode of Beautiful Mind.